Aquí alguien nada más habla español?
Sí.
Okay. Nada más habla español, entiende inglés también.
Sí.
Okay, that's all. So both.
Yes.
Okay, that's all. So, hello, hello everybody. My name is Benjamin Concepcion. I work here at Iowa State University in the career department. I'm also building my own brand, my own business on financial empowerment. I'm heavy on believing we're always taught to kind of just make money, especially from the communities that we come from. That's how I feel like home, speaking here and meeting y'all. We're always taught to just make money, but never how to manage it, right? So in terms, it's almost like figuring out, oh, go get a car without a driver's license, you know? And so sometimes you can crash, you can speed up, you can slow down. So this whole hustle, this whole game that I'm about to put you on is packed with heat. I never like to BS nobody. I like to make sure that everything we talk about is practical. So everything that you're gonna learn today, if you don't take notes, I highly recommend you do. This information, no matter what age you're in, I never like to underestimate us. So I like to make sure I hit y'all with everything. This game is rated E for everybody. High school, professionals, it doesn't matter. Because if you know how to manage debt, and no matter what level you're in, you'll change the game. Okay? Welcome. You'll see right there.
Oh, sorry, no, I was just talking.
Cool, it's all good, A little bit about me. First gen broke boy from the block. Without certain organizations, without certain people, I wouldn't be where I'm at now and living the life I'm living now. My fiance's in the back, and we wake up like, yo, what is happening? And it's out of gratitude, not out of like it doesn't make sense. There's an equation, there's a blueprint to this game, and I'm gonna hit y'all with some details, okay? Before I jump into anything so far, any questions, thoughts, concerns, I'm an introvert, so I will pause in every slide to make sure, like, I want this to feel like conversation, like we're at a dinner table. I know we're strangers now, but hopefully by the end of this experience, we'll stay connected, okay? Thoughts, questions, concerns about anything so far? Okay, cool, let's run this game. So, when you think about debt, how do you feel? Talk to me. Talk to me, don't be shy. Stressed. Scared. Anxious, what else? Hidden. Nervous. What did I hear over here? I heard a little mumble. Annoyed. Yeah, anything else?
Pressure.
Frustrated. Facts. Okay, anything else?
Pressure.
Pressure? Facts. Okay, good, right? So I like to get the tempo, to get the feeling of how we feel. Because when we think about money, people just think it's a transaction, but it's a feeling, right? So if y'all don't mind in the back too. Thank you very much. So this is a feeling, right? And so many of our financial decisions, people think it's a calculation. Nonsense. There's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of feelings behind it, and those feelings can blur us or can help us as we move forward when we make financial decisions. So I like to kick it off just for us to feel comfortable talking with each other. Like I said, there's gonna be a conversation. I don't know everything. Anybody who tells you they're an expert in something, they might be lying, right? Because things are always changing, things are always evolving. This is a level playing field. What you know, I know. What I know, you know. We're going to build from it, so we're having conversations, okay? There's no right or wrong question or answer. The only wrong thing to do is not to ask. Whatever you're curious about, that's what we're here for. We're all going to learn from each other. All right. So this is the potential agenda. I say it's a potential agenda because we can move and engage however y'all like, okay? So we'll talk about the weight of being the first. Being first generation, being the first one in certain spaces carries a lot of weight. And we'll talk about that. Specifically, I'll share my story in terms of my family and how we got out of this debt and that process. In terms of, we're gonna have a spilled milk exercise. We're gonna relate that to the debt strategies. And of course, we'll talk about the strategies to get ahead. This is where the sauce is. I want y'all to definitely, we'll look at it practically. Tools take control. I have a QR code at the end in terms of a survey, but also you'll get these tools that I personally use to kind of understand this stuff. And then kind of wrap up my family story in terms of how paying things off, the impact it had on us. And whatever questions y'all have, please, I like to be interrupted. Okay? Cool? Awesome. Let's run this game. All right, so this is my chicken scratch. Y'all can laugh. It's okay, right? This is me trying to be an artist. I'll bring this back in a little bit. So the way of being the first, how it started. So as I mentioned just now, information you can apply, that's where the power is. Right? When there's a lot of theory, that's nice to think, but something that you can see, if you finally know what the color yellow is, you understand, oh, that's what that is. And I'm gonna go to that sign. If you understand what a stop sign is, you know how to stop. Right? So when you see information, every time something is new that you don't understand, one thing is to get it, but then to be able to see it and apply it around you, that's where the game is. So that's where this whole debt journey started. I graduated college, first of the family, all that good stuff, and that's where the weight comes in. Because when we have, and I'm going to bounce around here, when we see something that we can fix, we have the responsibility to make sure we empower the environment that we're in. That's what makes us leaders, that's what makes us dangerous in certain spaces. And that's why we have conferences like this. I'm sure X amount of years back, this conference would not happen, right? And we're here now. So, as I started understanding, man, we've always been in poverty. My parents, first generation Americans, immigrated from the Dominican Republic, sold everything, right? The immigrant story. And so once, I still remember, we used to have beds, and our bed frames were like the milk cartons. And I just thought that was normal. I never felt like I needed anything. My parents, I don't know, they're superheroes. They had capes my entire life because they never made us feel like we were in poverty. It was just normal, you know what I mean? Like it was in the block, whatever, like we did what we did. And so then, as I got older, once I graduated college, or once in my time during college, once I learned how to learn, because that's the real key you're gonna get from a higher education, you're gonna learn how to learn. Once you know how to learn, you can understand anything. So once I understood how I can learn, then I was like, hey, hold on, why we've been in poverty our entire life? Like, pause, why? Right? Started questioning this reality and understanding like really what is going on. Started reading books, started meeting people who made money. Instead of looking at people who made money like, oh, they're just lucky, oh, they got it. But I started meeting people like us that was making money. And so that let me feel welcome to kind of ask the questions like, yo, how you live? Why you got those nice clothes on, right? Let's have a conversation. Oh, you own a home? Oh, what's that like? And just being curious with those questions, that unlocked a lot of information, then that could be applicable. And so with all those insights, I started understanding, okay, well, how do people, you know, we're in a ton of debt as a family. How the heck do we get out of this hole? And it was crippling, it was stressful, it was fearful, it created anxiety, it created all these feelings that we're talking about. So then, with all this information, this kind of came to play. Someone showed me that they do this with their family. It's almost like a temperature meter, or I try to draw it like that. As you can see, the date was in 2019, not too long ago. And it was showing kind of the total debts that we had in different credit cards or different things, and the minimum payments. And as we were kind of paying things off together, I was kind of filling it in. So this kind of kept us on track together. Before even having this down as a family plan, I was going against the family every day. It was like a fight. Because and in organization and in business, they call it buy-in. When you bring something new, you have to get buy-in from others. You can't just say, oh yeah, this is the best drink in the world, drink it. Like that, and people are like, I don't want it, right? So we have to create buy-in to understand, yo, this is what the play is. And we were fighting on a regular, because I'm the youngest. My father, the head of the household, Dominican, Latino, machismo, all that good stuff, was like, absolutely not. I brought you out of this country, and you gonna talk to me about budgeting, you gonna talk to me about managing my money, are you crazy? So it was every day, boom, boom, boom. To the point where after some time, we're like, yo, let's try it. And putting my own dollars in, because at this point, I was working my first graduation job, right? My first professional job, so I had a salary now, I was living there. Instead of just only supporting with like the car payments, and whenever there's an emergency, and I was like, nah, let's put money down monthly together, let's put it all together, and start tackling this stuff. And that's when my dad smiled. He was like, okay, you're gonna give me more money, okay, let's do it. So everything was kind of in control there. I realized you can't tighten a string too tight because it will break. So as we were kind of putting money together, I had everybody in the house, we were all kind of aligned on a budget, all together, monthly, this is what's happening, this is what we're taking away, everything is gonna make sense together. But I tightened the string too tight, that my dad, I still remember it to this day, I never felt betrayed in my life like that. My dad, low-key, hidden, not telling nobody, he wanted this damn light for the house. One of them, like, the lights you walk around and like it lights up. For some reason, he felt like he needed that. And this is why I mean that money is a feeling, right? The way we manage it is really how we feel. It's necessary to spend on your journey and whatever financial goal you have, because if you tighten it too tight, it will break. So it's all about kind of setting a plan that's balanced, that's accurate. And so I still remember he went behind my back, used one of his credit cards for $100. It's not even a lot of money, but it was $100. I was like, yo, Dad, how can you do this to me? Man, we had this crazy blowout. And my father ended up apologizing to me later. But then I apologized to him, like, man, I'm sorry, you're right. You should feel like you want to go buy your light, yo, buy your light. You know, let's not really squeeze this thing to be unrealistic. We all get the spending itch and we have to scratch it. Just like cheat days and like working out and stuff like that, like the body needs it. we need it as well. That's at a high level of the story. We went from having a ton of debt to then slowly tackling it. Another thing that happened, this is saying 21,000, it was 25, I know it for a fact, I don't remember that day. So when we were almost done, a boogeyman, something happened somewhere from another country, we owed somebody, that we had to get paid. Right, so little things like that happen, okay? On your journey, we wish everything is perfect and straight to the point, absolutely not. Once again, as we elevate ourselves, whether through education, whether through income, whether through just doing things differently, as leaders you pull, right? And it's a backpack. And I will never have shame for the weight I have. Because this is the stuff that makes me. You know what I mean? Thoughts, questions, concerns. I kind of blabbed a bunch of stuff. We good? Okay, that's a bit of my story. I feel like, was I clear? Okay, y'all let me know. All right. So we're going to do a quick spilled milk exercise. Like I said, I know we don't have too much time. So I'm going to count us off into groups of 3, like gym class. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Yeah. 1.
1.
2.
1.
2. 3.
1, 2, 3.
2, 3.
1.
Cool. All right, so on my 1s, I want y'all over here. My 2s over here in the middle, my 3s in the back. Okay.
Hayden, welcome. Are you 1? Nice.
If you don't mind holding on to this for me. Oh, do you need a seat?
She's going to
Well, we're gonna do this quick anyway. All
You
right.
can take this too. You want to sit here?
Man, we got a lot of 1s. This. All right, so all the teams, so 1s, 2s, and 3s. Okay, cool. Okay.
If it was an egg, I
All
would.
right. So y'all got 2 minutes to strategize how y'all gonna clean that most efficiently. Y'all got a few paper towels. So strategize for 2 minutes. I'll put a timer. Figure out together. Y'all decide.
Bro, no cap.
I'm sorry? Oh, look at that. I'm over here spilling different places. Damn, facts. You could have, then y'all would have won. Yeah, that's so funny. Now I gotta get some more. I still extra somewhere. So, strategize for 2 minutes with your squad. I'll put a timer right now. The whole point is to clean that as efficient and as fast as possible. Alright?
We got a bunch of us. We got
I feel like if you grab a paper towel, like,
Guys, who's thirsty?
He gave us all the people.
yeah.
Some more towels.
If we like grab the paper towel and like start wiping it, like,
Yeah, I agree.
like,
No, no.
Wait.
No, it's gonna get harder.
The towel will absorb it like instantly and then start like.
So how do you think we should do it?
Eso no es nuestro grupo. Enfócate acá. That's not our group.
This is so funny.
But it absorbed all of it. Alright, so, yeah.
Creo que está por ahí, mira.
We only have a little, so you
Yeah,
probably want to soak it up first.
One more right here.
Alright, so now you're actually doing that. You only got 1 minute. Start cleaning.
Oh, yeah.
They were so efficient. It's the young ones, they don't get it.
Like, I don't know, maybe like a super Josh, but it's like.
Now what? Tell me. You want two?
Yeah.
Lord, these guys.
Now,
I would say.
You're supposed to go with the least amount of paper towels possible.
Oh, yeah.
They're focused on.
Oh, you guys are ones?
We're all ones,
Oh,
yeah. We did ours. Mira, ya lo limpié.
look at that. So, right, for me too, right, it's like it's when you have a team, you gotta have people who wanna listen to. So, right, it's like I was like, okay, let me be the one who listens. You guys tell me what to do.
Only the people talking about.
But it's like everyone has to play their part.
Yeah, we gonna talk. We gonna talk.
And I'll get another.
Okay, cool. Okay, transfers over there. Once you're done, give yourself a round of applause. I'm gonna give y'all some extra towels so we can actually clean it up. You'll go back to your seats. I'm gonna give y'all extra because we don't want to leave this stuff sticky.
Hey, shit.
It's gonna smell like rotten.
Thank you. Of course. Yeah. Of course. Whoever need paper towels, I know some of your hands are sticky. Thank you. Boom, I got paper towels here for days. Yeah? Okay? Of course. Anybody else? Got paper towels. Okay. You good?
Bro, me and Joe just talking. You about to do that. Heard Jordan laughing. He said,
Want me to end it? All right. So I know, like I said, we don't got a lot of time, so I'm gonna fly by it. So I was supposed to supervise, but I know some teams started earlier than others to kind of see which team really did it fastest and best and the most efficient way. These paper towels or your money, right? So some teams had more money than others. I know number 1 was balling over here. There was a few of y'all that only had a few. You were like, yo, this is all we get? Yeah, man. Right? And so when we are competing in this academic or the capitalism world, we just get what we get, right? We got to make the best of it, which I think brotherhood, sisterhood world, we do the best we can with what we got always, right? You can't buy style. You can't buy finesse. You can't buy the lingo, the swag, yo. Anyway, I'll talk for days about those things. But, so this is the money. The milk was the debt. I know some of y'all even reacted. Exactly, right? So those feelings, we can feel that way about a spill, about a mess, is the same thing. The time, right, in terms of strategize, some of y'all were thinking things, right, figuring it out. If someone already gave you that strategy, you would have cleaned that even faster, right? Even as a group, as an individual, whatever, right? So that's where the wisdom comes in. And then, of course, as a team, we learn things in community, hands down. That's the best way we can develop each other with these connections, the people we know. I know we were strangers, but right there, we're building outcomes, right? You see that also in the military, right, where it's like, how do so many people don't know each other and get things done? Like the military crew, y'all walked in together in sync, and I'm like, okay, y'all know each other real well, right? So little things like that. But like I said, I want to fly by. Thoughts, questions, concerns about that activity right now? Okay. Cool. Okay, I know I want to spend more time on us dissecting that a bit, but I wanted to give y'all a game because we got to get out of here soon. So, and of course, this is not going to play nice with me. Let me refresh. So this is where these are the debt resolution strategies took me some time to understand, but you can look this up online, it's pretty easy and accessible. So the debt snowball method and the debt avalanche method. The debt snowball method, you're really trying to pay whatever debt balances we have, whether student debt, credit card debt, whatever, it doesn't matter whatever we get into, because debt is not always bad, and we'll talk about that at the end. Whatever it is, the debt that we have, with the debt snowball strategy, you pay your lowest debts to your highest, right? So you saw kind of the temperature thing. There were a few things that were like $300, a Capital One card that my mom had, right? And then there was a 1,300 teeth thing that I was handling for someone, right? And so you go from the smallest to the biggest. The game of this strategy is that it'll give you momentum, right? It'll get you started, at least, just like we did, right? Some of us, I saw some, those who had plenty of paper, just kind of threw it. And those who had a little were like, wait, let's get it from the corner. Let's cut it in half, right? Like we're figuring it out how to do it, make a lot with a little. This will get you started. The avalanche method is more of paying your, well, let me stand this way before I go crazy. This avalanche method is paying your interest, the highest interest first, and then going down. This method will save you the most money long term. I personally think it's harder. This is good for like income tax season, right? Because the avalanche method, you're throwing a ton of money at something. If we have a high interest debt, we don't know if it's the highest balance or the lowest, right? So this will give you a lot of momentum. I highly recommend starting here. If you got some money saved up, yeah, throw it at something. So that's your choice as you move, okay? And it's all about, once again, this is emotion, so it's about how you feel. What makes you feel in balance, right? Just throwing a bunch of money at something, or just taking bit by bit, right? My family and I, we did this bit by bit because it motivated us, it kept us going. I have a few tools at the end that you'll get access to, you'll have, like that you can start applying it your way. Before I wrap up this slide, thoughts, questions, concerns about those strategies? Ask now, because I want y'all to run this play.
Can you just talk a little bit about, because you use the example with your dad and tightening of the rope, but the goal is to reduce the spending so you can cut down on the debt. So if you reduce your spending, over time you'll get caught up on paying off those debts, like the snowball. Right?
Yeah. No, thank you for asking, right? So there's a lot of prerequisites before you start applying this play, right? So you have to have a budget in place, right? Kind of a plan of where your money's going, where it's coming. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just gotta have something. And then from that budget, you decide how many dollars you have of, I call them attack dollars, how many you have left over. It could be 20, it could be 50, whatever. Any amount is still progress. Something is better than nothing. And now you start, the amount of paper towels you have left over, you start chiseling and start getting yourself out of certain holes. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you for asking, I appreciate it. Any other questions, any other thoughts? That's what this is here for. Okay, cool. So this is the quick idea I wanted to share with y'all. Like the debt squeeze, when we make more money, we're expected to make more money, right? There's certain stories we tell ourselves. More money, more problems. Cap, I wish I had more money, there'd be less problems for me. Use credit card for emergencies only. These are stories we are told. Stories that are unchecked keep us in an unintentional reality. I'm gonna hit y'all heavy with that, right? So sometimes we tell ourselves stories or we hear stories. We don't even ask why it's happening. It just is. When we don't ask questions about it, we live a reality that we are not choosing. This is just, it's happening. So it is. And that's okay? Nah. Things that are happening, what's normal to you might not be normal to someone else. And if you're going through something, ask questions. Find out why. Can we get ourselves out of that hole? And of course, when it comes to like consumer debt, those are the things that kind of put a choke on those dollars, right? The fancier cars, the better clothing, the best vacations. If you are spending more than what you make, you're gonna get yourself squeezed, where a lot of dollars, you could be, whatever you make, it's just gonna get tighter and tighter and tighter. Because these are like commitments that put you in a corner. And when we're using debt to take advantage of it, you wanna use it to make more money. Right? When you're using debt just to kind of make more promises, the 5-year, 6-year car payment, when I could just go buy the little hoopty, or the decent one that's $3,000, it might take me a little longer to save, right? Or figure out a way to finance it in a way that the number of that car total is a little lower than what I don't need a Benz, I just need a little Toyota that's gonna take me to work. You know, and kind of understanding what you need versus what you want. But that's a whole different thoughts, questions, concerns about all that. Yeah.
Well, like, use credit cards for emergencies only, right? Like, that's like the basic rule, right?
Mhm.
That's the
That's
hey,
the-
before you know anything, like, someone gives you that advice. And then, right, so you're talking about, like, tools and knowing how to use them, your knowledge, right? So it's like, having a budget and knowing how to use a budget lets you not use that advice.
Yes, right? And this is like, and we see this all the time, right? Especially in our communities. There's like mainstream things happening, and then there's the things that we do, right? So, and something to have a quick example is almost like, I prefer to go to the homies cookout than go to the presidential something that I don't even feel, I feel a little stuffy walking in there. You know, like these conferences to me are top tier, because I feel it's home. Right? And just like we were talking about earlier about sports, like, well, I'm in the official team, I'm just doing intramural. It's not just, we are doing what we do. And so when it comes to now these processes of these tools, it's not always about, oh, this is how much money I'm making, right? It's about, okay, what's the plan? How are we really going about it? So we don't water ourselves down. Everybody's in a different journey, everybody's in a different mode. So thank you for sharing. Thoughts, questions, concerns? Yeah?
So, you know how they got Credit Karma?
Yeah.
Did you ever use like
My God.
disputes and stuff like that too?
So that's now, to be completely honest, I don't know too much about disputes in that arena, but I'm glad you're using Credit Karma, because that's one of the tools that I'm gonna talk about, because it keeps you, it recommends certain things, right, as you move around. These strategies I shared is kind of like a way for you to move. I know there's also consolidation, where it's like you get a new credit card, that there's a certain interest rate, you won't get charged for X amount of months. You can use that, but if you have the discipline of like your plan to make sure that you can make the payments. And even going back to emergencies, if something happens once and it keeps happening, that's on you. That's not an emergency now, it's a bad habit, right? The car can only break down how many times a year, you know? And if you don't have the funds, right? Like my rule of thumb is like in the summertime, is when I'm changing my oils, I'm fixing everything. I'm changing the spark plugs, the battery if I need to, right? My mechanic's gonna look it up, and we're gonna find out. That whole year I'm saving for it, because I know it's gonna break down. It's a hoopty, man, why are we lying? And so that's all part of that process. So I know I want to go back and land that plane, because I went a little loopy there, but does that answer your question too?
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Any other questions, any other thoughts? Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on interest rates that particularly makes people fall into the habit of not being able to pay your debt because that's how the bank makes money? Specifically student debt, because that's how they're designed, in a way that you have to pay for the loan room, so that way they make more money. So what would you say your advice would be for that kind of debt?
Oh my God, that's a great question. Because now interest rates is almost like, it's the entry fee to the club, right? You gotta pay to play.
Yeah.
There are some things that are predatory, right? You only see rental centers in the hood. You don't see that in the rich neighborhoods.
Okay.
That is a bar. It's a reality, you know what I mean? Like, it's our life. Like, this is our life. That's why I said, like, this stuff, once you see yellow, you know it's yellow, right? And so I'm like, I'm not gonna go get something I gotta pay a ton of dollars for. They know it's predatory, they know they're gonna come get it back from me. And if I kick it the wrong way, it's broken, and now I gotta pay, you know? And there's a cycle. Right? And I still remember my brother bought a stereo way back, and it was like, yo, they came to our door. It was crazy. I was like, I used to play marbles with the drug dealers. They weren't even that aggressive. You know what I mean? They were cool. It's crazy. But when it comes to now, as you make decisions, once you understand, Credit Karma is a great tool, which is what I'm talking about here, because you can see what a baseline interest rate is. You can compare it now to something. If you don't know anything, you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna get a deal. But now you can compare it. So something like this can level you out. As you see different cards, it'll allow you to compare. Oh, American Express, oh, there's a yearly payment. I don't want that. I just need this. I just want low interest rates. Oh, I need the max credit limit. So which one's gonna give me the best credit limit? And now you don't think about credit, interest rate, right? So it's like a seesaw. You're negotiating. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
And especially with like student debt and things like that, you are now getting education for an investment. You decide if it's gonna give you a return or not, and that's your own research. One thing with education that sometimes it's our environment, right? We don't know. When you graduate, I work in the career development center, so I'm always popping bubbles. Like, you're not just gonna graduate and walk and like get a job. You gotta set yourself up, right? I got to see another question.
Hi, my name is Vivian. Background. Ben knows me. I go to Worcester State. I'm a junior, I think. It's weird. I had a pre-law minor now. I'm like, oh, 12 more credits? Okay, I guess. So background with me, I am a not a, what is it called, untraditional, I'm not.
You're you, baby. Talk to me. What's up?
So I am a bit older, I have 2 younger brothers. One of them is in the Marine Corps right now, I'm prior Navy. So with that, when you go to the bank, well, you're right, you go with your parents, you're to get your debit card, you're like, yeah, you got your first job, I need a debit card to put the check in, put your money in, right? Okay, cool. Open up a savings account, put savings, start little. Because what, you're 16, you just got your first job, you're still in high school, right? Okay, cool, you have money now. So, but having that money and working that job, and you're still in school, right? Put like, this is what I told my brother, because he was joining the Marine Corps. I was like, look, you guys can have your credit cards. You can, but be smart about the credit cards because the interest rates. And they're like, he's like, what's the interest rate?
Yeah, it was wild.
He's like, huh? Yeah. I was like, if you can you can hear me. So listen, I was like, look at the interest rates. I was like, what? He asked me, he was like, oh, what is 18% good? No, 18% is terrible. Okay, when you see interest rate, if it says 18%, what is it, APR?
So so that's
APR, you look at those numbers, you're like, what is this? So the lower that percentage is, the better.
Yeah.
So if you go to the bank and it's their job, I get it. You go to the bank teller or whoever is handling your bank needs, it doesn't matter the bank, they all do the same job. They tell you, oh yeah, you can, because you're young and you're impressionable. And once you turn 18, it's free range, baby. So you're like, ooh, I can get a credit card now. So that's,
do you mind if I?
so be smart, I guess, like in a way where it's like, don't fall for the, oh, this is a good travel, because it's what happened to me. Because I, fresh out of boot camp, I was 19. They're like, oh, you're going to Japan? You need a travel credit card. No. Interest rate? Out there.
So we only got 5 minutes left. But that's where Credit Karma is perfect.
Yeah.
Right? Because now you can, because the thing is, these financial institutions, it's a product, right? So it's our responsibility to do our due diligence and understand like, oh, is an 18 credit score, is an 18 APR good or not, right? So when you there's an application, if y'all don't know, right? You can download this on your phone, you can look it up, Credit Karma. This is a sheet that I personally use for budget, spending, and the debt tracker, like the debt snowball. I have a QR code right after this slide where you'll have access to this. It's for you to give honest feedback of this presentation, of this conversation we're having. Thank you, Vivian, I appreciate that. And then, of course, as y'all see, we're having conversations now. We're in community. I wish we had more time to kind of dive into all these different topics because this stuff, it starts blowing up. Once we initiate the conversation, everybody, oh wait, oh this happened to me. Oh, this happened to my sibling. Oh, I seen this. That's what makes Brent sent us in the hood. This stuff is real. We can see it now, understand it, and now apply it. So, if you don't mind scanning this QR code with your phones, to be completely honest, the more honest the better, because this is just gonna develop me. Because through these conversations, from feedback like this, how people, oh, there's an activity, oh, let's talk about what we're seeing. And like I said, I wish we had more time to kind of dive into community, because these stories, these experiences, these questions, this is what makes this stuff powerful.
For those that came later into the classroom before Ben started, I'm Sarah, by the way, I work for OMA. Behind your name tags, there is a little card with a QR code on the back. That's also a survey for us. I don't know if it's the same survey that Ben has, but for us, we have a survey on the little card just so that we know what you guys think, what you guys are feeling about this conference, so that way next year we could hear you guys' voices and see what we can do better next time.
Thank you, yeah. Whoever's done with the survey, talk to me, what y'all think you're gonna get out of this? What do y'all wanna run? What plays are you gonna run? Was this useful? Cause I don't we got like 2 minutes left. Yeah.
Can you put that quote back up about unintentional reality?
Yeah. Because I know I didn't even talk about like the impact of paying off this debt to our family, but in short, it was opportunity. We were finally able to have a reliable car, right? Have extra dollars. I still remember to this day, we had $900 extra every month after paying all 25,000, all the minimum payments. After we added them all up, we had an extra 900 a month. And that was in 2019, so that was good money. That was the biggest raise I've had in my entire professional career, right? And it's crazy how when we decide to take on a goal, it can transform us. It takes faith to get there. Because as you choose a goal and you transform, by the time you achieve it, you're a whole other person. You become Vivian 2.0 when you join the military and now you graduate from those programs or you complete those things. Okay? But anyway, I know my time is up. Thoughts, questions, concerns for those of you who have completed the survey? Okay. I know I have my personal blog here. If y'all want to kind of keep the conversation going, I just started this stuff, so I'll be writing and stuff like that, so you can scan this, subscribe, and like that you'll get insights on a regular basis. But thank you for your time, and I hope y'all go to the next one.
Yeah, so folks, we're running a little behind, so if you guys get to your next workshop, if the previous workshop is still in session, just kindly wait outside, but please try to do some homework and pick out the workshop you plan to do next. If anybody's doing the gambling session workshop, that will stay here. So if you're doing that workshop, you don't even have to move, you can just stay here for that session. If you know your session will be in another room, then please do your homework and pick the other classroom. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.